And I think if you want a visual, so Heidi's been here for almost 2 years. Every day I drop her off, it's great. You know, it's safe. You got the cameras everywhere. I trust. You know, you got the keypad. And I think it works great. This morning I dropped my daughter off at the school, and there was a police officer with a gun standing there, and I didn't know about it. You have a text message system on your phones. I get maybe one, or like Lily's saying, maybe 1 or 2 a day about a snow day or something. No one can notify me that there's going to be a man with a gun in my daughter's school. And when I ask about it, there's no good information. I asked Miss Rhonda, has there been a threat of violence? She and Laura looked at each other, wouldn't say anything.
Well, let me fill you in a little bit on that. Across the last, I'd say 3 weeks, and I could be wrong about that, but I can tell you across the last week, for sure, but maybe across the last 3 weeks, there's been a couple of anonymous phone calls that Rhonda has received. And the one that came this past week or weekend threatened that something big was going to happen today at the school. And I do not know the source of that. I'm just saying this is what came in an anonymous phone call.
When did you know this?
Saturday.
Why do none of us know this?
Well, because we don't normally communicate with
And
parents
why
on the
was
weekend.
Schools
the
are-
letter, you communicated with the people you dismissed on the weekend?
Schools are evacuated all the time for a threat like that.
Well, you're right about that.
And the
You're
letter
right.
didn't say anything about a threat that something big was going to happen. It said there was concern over people that had been dismissed. I mean, if I knew that there was a threat, no, my daughter would not be here today.
Well,
So I don't know either.
I don't know what to tell you except what the facts are. And the facts are that that was the call that was made, and then when that was discussed, and I was not a part of that discussion, but I came to be a part of it. The concern was that we not allow something bad to happen up here.
Yeah, I would think that would not happen if the school was closed. And if the parents knew that there was a threat of violence to the school, so we didn't have to let our children attend. And we could make plans on a Saturday for where our children were going to go on Monday. But it kind of seems like if you send out that information and you're down $8,000 this month from parents leaving the school, you might have more parents leave. And then you got a real tuition gap that you got to fill in. Do we see the cycle of lies here and what it's doing to the quality of your school?
Well, nobody's lying to you.
Withholding information, however you want it. Okay,
Yeah.
pretend this was your child at a
Okay,
school.
let me-
I'm sorry, I've barely spoken. Give me 1 second. Pretend we switch roles. I'm the administrator. I'm over the school. It's your kid here. 2 days ago, 48 hours ago, I found out that there was a threat. I don't know what it is. Something big is going to happen. It's 2016. You know how many school shootings there have been in the last 5 years? And I don't tell you about it. How do you feel?
But you do send a note home that maybe some parents were acting weird. So you did make the time and effort on letterhead communication to write the note. You're just not willing to be transparent about what the threat was, that there was a legitimate threat. Because I emailed other parents in my classroom today and said, listen, if I got this note out of, I think people are being over safe here, and if I got this note out of context, I might think that there are parents at this school that are unsafe. I can let you know that I know the character of the 3 parents that were asked to leave this school, and while it's an emotional situation, these parents are not unsafe people. So if you don't know who these parents are, and you're questioning if you think that one of these 3 parents that this letter is telling us is the problem, is going to come in and do something to our children, I think that we can rest easy. I would have never made that statement to other parents in my child's classroom if I had heard of an anonymous threat to violence to my daughter's school. So do we see what happens when you send home communication and it's not correct? Or when you choose to pick and choose what communication you send home to the parents? This makes sense, right? Yeah.
Well, all I can say is that on the basis of the information we had on Saturday, we did not know where that word came from, nor did we know what parents, if any, might be involved in that. And so in order to help the school be more secure, that's when the decision was made to have the police officer come. That we have to add some added security.
May I ask whose ultimate decision that was to not communicate that?
There wasn't a decision not to communicate it. It was a decision to have. You mean about the police officer?
Right.
How?
Is that?
Well, it was communicated.
Is that Alan's call, or is that Rhonda, or is that yours?
Alan made the arrangements, but it was, he and I together agreed it was important to have security up here greater than we normally have. And that's not the first time we've had to do that. For some other reasons we've had to do that as well. But there was a letter that was handed to people today that went out that said, I think it said that the officer was here.
Let's be clear, there's nothing in this letter, there's nothing in the letter that said an anonymous message to the school threatening violence. That is completely different than an impasse in communication with 3 parents and the school in which it is decided that the parents no longer need to attend the school. That is a
Which was
school
apparently decided
issue.
after the anonymous call.
Right, and that is a school issue. And if this school, on any given day, receives an anonymous threat to violence, phone call, voicemail, whatever, and you happen to have a situation with a parent, it's extremely unethical to try to pin that back on any issue that you have stating with any parent. This could be a cracked out teenager. This could be a domestic violence issue that we don't know about in this school. Like, there's nothing to prove that it has anything to do with the character of 3 moms that are in a communication issue with you. So it's totally unethical to pin this back on these people. And it's also extremely unethical in a different way to not fully state that an anonymous threat to violence was brought to this school on Saturday.
And this morning, after the letter came, I asked Miss Rhonda that. I said, has there been a threat? They looked at each other, wouldn't tell me anything. I called 911. I called the substation for this area. Neither one of them said that there was anything that had been reported. Then I called Miss Rhonda again, and she still didn't tell me anything. So after digging 4 times, going through any channel that I know, and speaking to Alan, who told me the same thing, this is the first time I've heard this from you.
Well, I guess you came to the right place.
And this
I don't-
is who we're
I don't-
supposed to communicate with.
Yeah. That's the proper
This
protocol,
is
is to
what's
go to
so
those people.
concerning.
It's a need-to-know basis relationship.
Well,
It's not
see-
cool when it's your kid.
See, the thing about this is there are a lot of gray areas here, and that is that, first of all, we don't know who made that phone call.
Yeah, but
We
any
don't
school,
either, so
you
we
call,
just
you
wouldn't
call,
know.
yeah,
Let me
go
finish
ahead,
this
go
time,
ahead,
okay?
go ahead.
All right. We don't know who made that phone call. It appears to have been the same person both times who made the call. It was a female. Did not identify whether it's a person in this school or not in this school, a family that's associated with it or what. I mean, you're right. It could have just been a prank call about that. But I guess I guess the decision was that we needed to do something to protect the people who would be here, and right or the wrong decision, I'm not sure. Fortunately, nothing happened today, and we have a presence here throughout the day, and we'll have tomorrow, and possibly the next day. I don't know that, but we'll see. So there was no attempt, Lily, to tie this back to any of those parents who were disgruntled.
When we get a letter and we have a letter that says that the reason that there's an armed officer at our daughter's school is due to the fact, directly in the letter, that 3 families had an issue with the school, I think you're real certain that you're tying it back. You can send me 2 letters. I'll pay for the paper. 3 families are no longer at this school. We wish them the best. If you'd like to talk about it, please let us know. There was a threat of violence at our school this weekend. We wanted to let you know about it. We want to take this seriously. There's an armed officer at your child's school today. If you're saying these are two different issues, then why did we get a sheet of paper?
It's one sentence: to ensure the safety of your family and CDC staff. In case of disgruntled parents decide to escalate further, an off-duty police officer will be at the CDC starting on Monday. So that can't be any closer.
Libel lawsuit to me if a parent isn't the one who called it in and then was sent home to a couple hundred families. These parents have jobs. I mean, if this gets around that, well, we sent home this letter because we thought disgruntled parents were going to get violence, and then there was a threat of violence, and I mean, this is the...
There was not a threat of violence. You said something. It could have been the news media. It could have been who knows what.
To me, it's just if any high school, elementary school got a phone call, it can be plain as me saying it like this: "Hi, something big is going to happen on Monday. Click." They are not opening that school on Monday.
And like you said,
In 2016, yeah.
Too much going on.
how much gun violence and school shootings have we heard about?
Yeah, I know that. I'm aware of the news.
You know, we can analyze